Inside of today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the best brawlers in the game to solo carry with. So these are going to be the brawlers that you want to be picking in Power League to just completely carry your randoms. Sometimes it can be really hard to get out of like Diamond rank or even Mythic rank, for example. So these are the best brawlers to carry with. So starting off the rankings, at number 10, we have Stu. So Stu's solo carry potential is definitely insane. So more so the highest skill cap brawlers are going to be the ones on this list. But Stu is just so fun to play, but definitely his impact on the game can just be absolutely huge, especially on the game modes he's best in and the maps he's best in. He's best in hot zone, where a good Stu, an open zone, for example, can just completely break your angles, especially with the Gasser Hill star power. And if you have that low ping as Stu, you're just going to be gliding, getting 2 heals off with 1 piece of ammo, and it could just be so hard for the enemies to deal with. It'll literally take multiple people to try and shut you down. So that's why whenever, especially at the lower elos, especially on hot zone, for example, I'll go for Stu, because I just feel like I'll be carrying my teammates so easily. He's pretty good in gem grab and Brawl as well, but Stu is definitely a high carry potential brawler. So next up, as the 9th best brawler to carry your randoms with, we have Rico. So I might be a little bit biased because Rico is one of my favorite brawlers, but I just feel for the longest time Rico's carry potential has just been insane, especially just because of his mechanics, and especially once you start getting your supers, you can start to just get some amazing multi-kills with it. So the main reason why I think he's such a good brawler to carry your randoms with is, again, because of that super. That super can just kill brawlers, multiple brawlers so easily, and then you charge your super back again. It can lead to multiple supers and having such a good impact on the game. I'm talking as well on some maps like Hard Rap Mine, you can easily just dominate your lane just because of his normal mechanics, right? But not only that, you can just push into the enemy spawn so easily with his gadget as well. Just makes it really hard for the enemies to deal with. Rico actually isn't the best brawler right now, but I just feel, especially at the lower ranks, he can just absolutely dominate. Talking on just any map really with a lot of walls, it's just going to have such a big impact on the field, and I just feel like his carry potential is just insane. So next up, as the 8th best brawler to carry your randoms with, I went with Surge. So Surge, whenever I'm doing a Power League video, a lot of people ask me how to counter Surge, because it can be really hard to deal with. I've seen it multiple times at low level where Surge can just absolutely dominate, and this is another brawler as well. If I'm playing at the lower ranks, I'll just opt for a Surge a lot of the times. He's pretty easy to play for the most part, and it can be really hard to actually counter because it does require the full team to really focus and not feed him the levels. If just one teammate is being dumb and feeding Surge levels, it makes it impossible for everyone else, right? So I feel like if you're a good Surge, you can easily carry in, pretty much every game mode really. He's even usable in Heist right now, probably except for Knockout and Bounty, probably the game modes I want to stay away from, but his carry potential is just insane, especially against tanky brawlers. So next up, as the 7th best brawler to carry your randoms with, it has to be Sam. So Sam somehow has just had a massive resurgence in the meta, and he's actually one of the best brawlers in the game right now. He's just so good, and he actually has a pretty high skill cap tank, so I think that's one of the main reasons why he's on this list, because he's high skill cap. But if you're really good Sam, you can just delete people. So the way you play Sam is just basically just run into the opponents as much as possible. You're probably going to end up as star player for the most part, but it's not just running in aimlessly, right? He's getting a lot of pressure, he's getting a lot of damage, he's making it easy for you and your teammates to push up. I'm not the best Sam, so I can't give the best advice with him, but just overall I think he's a pretty easy brawler to play in some ways. Like, you get a speed boost, you can just constantly be supering up against the wall as well, gaining that extra HP, but for me it can be really hard to face off against a Sam, especially on some grassy maps where it requires a pinch and multiple people to take him down. So that's why I feel like his carry potential is huge, because he just has such that big aura on the map where it requires so many people to focus on it. So next up, as the 6th best brawler to carry your randoms with, I went with Max. So the main reason why I put Max on the list, I just think, again, like, she's just so good with her super with everything, but not only that, she has the potential to make so many pop-off plays, and her supers are really going to win you the game a lot of the time. But it just reminds me back of when I started my free-to-play series. One of the first brawlers I maxed out was Max, because not only am I like Max one of my best brawlers, but I just felt like it was just so easy to carry randoms with this brawler, because time and time again I can give them a super. If they're just brainless, if they play a really dumb brawler like a tank, at least your speeds are going to really help them out and pushing up the map and gaining some control. So like, control is the name of the game on a lot of different game modes, and the control that Max brings to the field is just insane. Okay, so moving on to the 5th best brawler to carry your randoms with, I've gone with a Piper. So Piper has always had this high risk, high reward mentality, but especially lower down, it's a lot easier to carry with a brawler like Piper. So again, another brawler I kind of go to, especially when it's like bounty or whatever else. I just feel the carry potential on this brawler is just absolutely insane, because if you're tapping, you're going to be dealing so much damage to the opponents, and then of course you can break open the walls once you start charging your super over and over again. It's just pretty hard to deal with a really good aggressive Piper. So again, game modes like bounty, heist, knockout, those are going to be the free modes in general. She's not really the best elsewhere, but definitely on the longer range maps you can still use her. But it's just so easy to dominate really bad randoms with Piper. So next up, as the 4th best brawler to carry your randoms with, I've gone with Mandy. So I think Mandy's carry potential is insane, because not only does she have like the best super in the game, I feel like her mechanics are a little bit hard to use, but a good Mandy can just absolutely dominate, especially on knockout and bounty. Any long range map, a good Mandy can literally 1v3. But again, it kind of stems from her super. Like, her super has potential to, you know, if you hit multiple people, you can charge it back instantly, and if you've got really good aim or just good predictions of the enemy's movements, you know, it's going to deal a lot of damage, and you're going to be able to win the game with just your supers alone, basically. So next up, as the 3rd best brawler to carry your randoms with, I've gone with Buzz. So Buzz at the lower end is just insane. I just feel like whenever I play Buzz, it's just so easy to get wins. People just don't know how to stay away from the stun, and the stun is just such a broken mechanic overall. But also, even at the higher end, like, a good Buzz can literally win any matchup. It's just absolutely insane. And the carry potential, just because the tanky brawlers can a lot of times have a big carry potential, because, you know, not always will you face off against tank counters, and you can just absolutely destroy your lane as well with this kind of mechanic that Buzz has. He has such long range with his grapple. He can easily just make such a huge impact. So for me, he definitely has to be kind of high skill cap for a tank. You know, I can't play Buzz personally, but, you know, a good Buzz is just so hard to deal with. So coming in as the 2nd best brawler to carry your randoms with, I have Carl. So Carl's carry potential is just absolutely huge. So his mechanics alone are kind of just built for him to carry, because his flying hook can just easily win so many different matchups, have such a big impact on the game. The same with his super. His super can just shred literally anybody, even his biggest counters. He can still have a good impact with his super. So again, the main reason why I think he's such a good carry brawler is because pretty much he's usable on every single game mode, especially Brawl. You know, with his flying hook, he's able to make such amazing plays. Gem grab, he can kill the gem carrier pretty easily if he latches onto them with the gadget. You know, bounty is able just to get the first star, but also have such a big impact on the game. I just think as well, you know, whenever I've played against a good Carl, it can just be so hard to deal with him. You know, if he's in your grass, in behind, he can be so incredibly snaky and slimy. Okay, so now moving on to the best brawler to carry your randoms with. For me, no doubt, it has to be B. So B, for the longest time, I think has been the best brawler to carry your randoms with. You know, it's pretty much good against everything, but now the meta is just completely shining on her, and more so now than ever. You can just absolutely carry. So it's pretty self-explanatory. She gets 3k shots every shot you hit. You can just deal mass amount of damage to the enemies. But not only that, if you're facing off against Poké Double Tank, you know, the slows and all of that good stuff can just destroy tanks. Also on long range maps, especially against people that don't know how to dodge pretty well, I just feel like I'm just tapping constantly against these players. And, you know, if I'm playing on even like Diamond, for example, I just feel B is just so easy to play against those brawlers, because I can just consistently hit those 3Ks over and over again. And pretty much every single game mode and map she's really usable on, and it's always how Brawl Stars has been with B. It's just the carry potential is insane, and it's so hard to deal with a good B player, especially once the walls are broken up. You know, for example, in overtime in Brawl Ball, you know, the B carry potential is just off the charts. Alright guys, it's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know who you think are the best brawlers to carry your randoms with. Of course, it might be a little bit different, because, you know, some situations, you know, high skill cap brawlers like, I don't know, Dynamite, for example, can really hard carry, but I'm just talking about in general. Try not to be biased towards myself, but of course there might be a brawler that you always go towards if you want to carry your randoms right. I don't know, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe like a Tara, for example, or Jean, you know, really good supers. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.